Hey, hello, welcome. Welcome to this corner of the internet. If you've stumbled upon this is a safe space for anything, really. But today I just thought to discuss a little bit about 19 things, or maybe a little more than 19 things that I have realized in 19 years of my living upon this planet Earth. I actually prepared a small note, because 19 things is a lot and I suck in remembering things. I do not have a good memory at all. I have friends who I learn their names one day and the next day I go back to them telling them like, hey, yesterday I forgot your name, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I'm like that. So I thought, yeah, I better write it down, because midway I'll have to stop the video otherwise. So I'd not make you wait very much. This is a little note that I prepared. Not much of your business anyway, it's boring stuff. But these are some profound things that I realized. Some when I was going through these situations, and some after, as I looked back, or as I simply relaxed into my being. There dawned upon me several realizations. These are simply 19 of them. The first one: what you seek, you already are. Whatever it is that you seek, you already are that. Maybe you seek to be a businessman, or a bureaucrat, or an IAS officer. You are that. You have too many qualities of that in you, which is why you are trying to manifest its physical form in your life. It's just that the manifestation has not yet happened. Otherwise, you are exactly what you seek. If you're seeking silence, some form of silence has entered you, which is why if you're pleased with it and you want to attract loads of it, bundles of it, in some way, in some form. What you seek, you already are within. Also, please just excuse the dogs barking, because it's probably 12 at night, no, 11 at night. I am that crazy girl who kind of shoots things at random spaces in the universe and at absolutely random times. So forgive me for that. The second one. By the way, please grab a drink, okay? Because this video is going to be a long and chatty video. Peace and love. The second realization is, whatever you desire and you go after, you hardly get it. You never get it, actually. Because by chasing after things, you stop allowing those things to come after you. So there's a very small quotation that I read on a friend's Instagram bio, like the handle, which said, attract, do not chase. Which is so true, because the moment that you start chasing after something, it stops coming at you. It starts running away from you, rather, because now you are chasing at it and it feels terrified and it feels scared. This is not only for human beings, lovers, parents, relatives, friends, best friends. This is also applicable for any non-living thing as well. This is also applicable for plants and animals and everything in the universe. So you better just keep still. Stop that continuous cycle of you going after things and then being disappointed that you didn't get them because they didn't fulfill your standards, your unrealistic standards of expectations. The third thing, I also hope that you are able to hear me because there's no microphone here, okay? I'm just conveying it, heart to heart. The third thing, truth is always paradoxical. Otherwise, it's not truth at all. The word paradox basically means something which is absolutely contrary to what it says, and yet it is true. I'll give you an example. This might sound very confusing. I'll give you an example. Pleasure often turns into pain, and pain often turns into pleasure. So, pleasure and pain are two sides of the same coin, and I want you to experiment with what I just said. If you kind of bite into a lemon and like suck its juice for some time, let's say 2 or 3 seconds, initially it like feels it's the most painful thing in the world. Just after the 5-second mark, it feels suddenly, all of a sudden it feels so like it gives you another kind of pleasure. If somebody stings you or bites you, you'll see there's an initial pain, and after that it slowly starts becoming more comfortable, and slowly it turns into pleasure. On the other hand, when you are eating something that's extremely pleasurable, for example, chicken biryani, something that I guess we all have eaten at some point in our lives as Indians, it's the quintessential celebratory food. So when you eat like 2 packets of it, you suddenly feel that I cannot stand to see the face of biryani anymore in my life. It may be true for Doritos, for anything that you love. When you have too much of it, you naturally grow a distaste towards it. It is just because too much of pleasure always leads to pain. Too much of pleasure always grows into hatred. The same is for love and hate. Love and hate are basically the same thing. It is just two sides of the same coin. Love easily turns into hate. Hate easily turns into love. But there is another kind of love that is as it is. Because true love can never turn into hate. But that is another talk. That is talk for some other day. That is not love that you can find outside. That is not love that you can get from sexual intercourse, or that's not love that you can get from orgasms, or that's not love that you can get from even heart to heart talk. That is love within. That's talk for another day. So truth, always has to have a paradox. Like two opposites meeting at a point of intersection, and yet it stands very firm. Truth is always like that. Okay. There's another paradox I'd love to give here, which is I have heard this being said by my guru a lot. He says it's been said that those who stand first in society they always come last existentially, and vice versa. So those who are very successful in society, those who are extremely well known, so-called good people, rational people, logical people, they who always are well renowned in society are generally the most miserable and the most depressive kind of people in their own personal lives, and existentially as well, they come last. But those who are nomadic, who are hippies, who may not be so well renowned, who kind of are known to break the rules of the society, are the ones that happen to stand a chance to come first existentially, which is very true. Very true means very true. I have had several experiences. Like every day is another experience proving the same thing for me. The fourth thing, there's only one master key to all life problems, and that is meditation. And meditation is not concentration. Meditation is not attention. Meditation is not rituals. Meditation is not worshipping any god. Meditation is not focusing on anything. Meditation is just being. A passive, relaxed awareness. 10 minutes of not doing. More about that in the previous video that I made. If you did not see that, go check that out right now. Okay, because in the previous video I rambled about meditation. I rambled about everything. The first 4 minutes are completely dedicated to it. The fifth realization is that everything in life can be used as a possibility for elevation, for growth, for your own evolution to a different dimension. Every single situation that you feel is utterly depressing, is daunting, cannot be used, you have become anger, you have become depression itself, you have become death, in so many other forms, and you feel like this is the end of it. All of those situations can be used as a stepping stone for something larger in life. Every situation is a possibility for growth. I repeat, every situation is a possibility for growth. You can use it in 112 different ways. In whichever way you like, you jump in and you can turn it into a possibility for growth. You don't like your mother-in-law, your husband is not talking to you, your child is misbehaving in school, whatever the situation is, you can turn it around in less than 5 minutes if you really know the technique. So every single situation in life is a possibility. It is not a hurdle. It is not an obstacle. In fact, suffering is actually the biggest possibility for going beyond the current plane of existence. There you go. The sixth thing that I was about to say is life is inherently fierce and playful. Life is inherently fierce and playful. I'm not talking about your life. I'm not talking about my life. I'm talking about that one thread of consciousness that is constant, is playful, and is fierce. You will see roses blooming for no reason. You will see sunsets and sunrises are beautiful for no reason. There is no reason for nature to be so aesthetic. There is no reason why peacocks are made so beautifully. There is no reason why the earth smells so wildly beautiful after a downpour. There is no reason why cats are the furriest and the cutest. There is no reason for dogs to be loyal. But all of this is because life is a dance. It's like a song. It's like a dance of energy. It's like playfulness. It is like children with innocence and wonder and awe and beauty and everything good. Okay, so life is inherently playful, and it's also fierce. When it comes at you and it knocks you down, it meets you. So it's fierce and it's playful. So what I intended by that is that if you are not fierce and if you are not playful, I don't mean that you have to kind of wrestle with everybody that you see. I'm saying by fierce, life is very intense, in terms of how it is. It's very intense, it's very contained, and yet it's very playful, it's very dynamic, it's change. Life is so fluid, like water. The next thing is life is in now, never then and there. All else is non-existent. Now this is a big and broad thing. I cannot explain it in 1 minute. It's just that I can tell you one thing. If human beings never existed on Earth, then we would have this situation where there were only plants and animals with their low-level brains. They wouldn't have such highly evolved brains. So if they had to ask each other, what is the time? Their concept of time would be now. The time is now. There's no time. They wouldn't have developed a whole number system around time. They wouldn't have created sundials to say, this is 6 o'clock, this is 5 o'clock, I need it in 2 hours. The only moment that is right now is right now. Sadhguru says an amazing thing while he does the inner engineering program, which is beautiful. You must go through it if you haven't. He says, this moment, the way it is the way it is. It cannot be any other way than the way it is right now. So this present moment is everything that is your life. Your mind thinks, oh no, my life was in the past, but it's dead. It's no more there. It's non-existent. But your mind thinks that it's there. That is a disease of the mind. And your mind jumps onto the future moment. That is also restlessness, anxiety, and disease of the mind. But if you truly look into it, there's only this moment. There's nothing else. The moment, the way it is the way it is. It cannot be any other way than the way it is. So the teaching is total acceptance. Which brings me to the next point, which is, Osho also said this like a number of times, and I resonated with it so much. He said, life is always here and now, never there and then. I will not ramble about it any further. The next thing is, the mind is a beautiful servant, but a very dangerous master. I've seen so many people saying, I suffer from. There are so few people that actually are even aware that they're suffering. Most people get so entangled with suffering that there is not even one drop of awareness that I am suffering. They just become suffering. So I've heard many people saying, I suffer from anxiety, I suffer from bipolar disorder, I suffer from overthinking, I suffer from schizophrenia, I suffer from clinical depression. All of these problems are inherently caused by you. Trust me when I say this. You're going to curse me, you're going to put some slang words at me, but inherently it's caused by you because, see, look at this, okay? Be calm and look at this. Your mind is no longer under your control. Your mind is not happening the way that you want it. It is completely out of your control, isn't it? This is why so many thoughts are coming, unwanted thoughts at unwanted times and places. Is coming, isn't it? This is what is a disease. Therefore, I realized very early on that mind is a beautiful, beautiful servant. I keep it low, I tell it to do something, it's a beautiful tool. Everything that's good has come out of the human mind, every invention, every damn thing. But it's a very dangerous master. The moment it becomes a master, it produces anxiety. It produces anxiety about the littlest things that are stupid. The moment it becomes the master, it produces different kinds of mental diseases, which we can see today. And in fact, UNESCO, United Nations probably is one of those organizations who's predicting a mental health pandemic by and large by 2024, 5 or 6. I don't know the exact date, but it's coming, it's on the way. So what I'm saying is, mental health is very connected with, are you the controller of your mind or is your mind controlling you? For 99.9% of the people, let me tell you, their mind is their master. They are not the master of their minds. The next one. Witnessing is the greatest miracle invented or discovered. Witnessing is the greatest miracle invented or discovered. Another thing I'd like to say is, just don't react to anything. You can respond. The best thing though is to keep quiet. Simply to let it pass through you as though you were an empty hole, a watcher. That's all. This is what witnessing is. Like when you see a movie, you see all dastardly things happening on a screen, but you don't get identified with suffering. You don't get identified with, you don't become suffering. If somebody is suffering on TV, you know that it's there. It's not true. It's a dream. It's a movie. It's fictional. Same with your life. When you witness your suffering dissolves immediately. Because then the energy that you put into suffering is dissipated. Because suffering is actually an illusion. There's no suffering. There's no joy as well. but this is again high talk. This is not something I'd like to bring in this video. The next thing is, do not swim, float. Simply float. Don't resist, simply accept. Don't push away. I was saying, don't hesitate and don't push away. Simply do and simply be. You kind of have to learn the art of absolute acceptance, absolute surrender, and absolute being, relaxing into your own being. You have become too much of a doer. You think you are doing things. That's why they are happening the way that they're happening. This is the greatest error that any man can commit, is to think things are happening because I am doing them. The moment I stop doing them, things will stop happening. Trust me, if you die, existence does not give a damn about you. Existence will work perfectly fine. Even I think it will work, pardon me, I don't have any wish to insult you, but I have a feeling that if you die, existence is going to perform like 1% better than it did yesterday, because there's one less mind to cause more drama and problems. Existence is going to be so happy. So the thing is, the best thing is to accept that you are not the doer. Things are happening through you, but not from you. You can be the medium. You cannot be the source. The problem comes when you think I am the source. The problem comes when you think, oh, I am the doer. I am the CEO. I am kind of everything. That is where everything starts going wrong. That's where existence starts flowing against you. The next thing is what comes from the heart is always true, and what comes from outside is always false. Nothing to explain. See, with myself, I would like to give an example. I was this kid who kind of always had an ambition, who was always frustrated until she was 17 years of age. She was always concerned about, I talk about it as though it was in my last lifetime. It seems to be far away, but it is not far away when you look at it. So until I'm 19 now, but until 17 I was extremely frustrated and kind of agitated with everything in my life, because I had a one-pointed goal of becoming successful in whatever I touched. I wanted to be Midas, really, in everything that I did. And didn't turn out well. I developed a binge eating disorder. I kind of wanted to fit myself into the society, which is inherently a diseased structure in itself. Society is a diseased structure in itself, and it's a creation that you are not born to fulfill the expectations of. A naive kid, I thought maybe I am born to do what others say, and then I saw all this bullshit. I don't know if I'm allowed to kind of curse. Okay, maybe I'll have to censor that part, but the thing is, I understood, oh, this is not correct. And then I realized, oh, why am I chasing after being first? Why am I chasing so much after things that don't even matter after 5 years or 10 years? And then I thought, okay, science is not for me, because I was that girl who wanted to be a doctor and a successful one. And then I thought suddenly science is not for me. I did not enjoy reading science. I discovered that I read science with a goal-oriented mind. I never enjoyed it. And when you don't enjoy something, it's definitely either you don't learn to enjoy it or it's not meant for you. So I skipped science. In a heartbeat, I said, my mom, I'm taking arts. And today I'm studying English literature. And I'm extremely happy. I'm extremely happy. I'm not happy that I'm studying literature, or I'm not happy that I proved myself right. It's just that I'm happy because I listened to my heart. I'm simply happy because for once I did not depend upon the opinion of other people, whereas so many people thought that I was that one girl who was supposed to take science. Everybody in my batch, from the lowest rung to the highest, took up science, and I'm the only kid probably that took up arts. Or commerce they took up. I was like, no, I'm going to take up plain arts. And despite everything, I listened to my heart, and I'm extremely happy, like very happy, very, very happy, and extremely grateful. So that's that. So what comes from outside is meant to be false, is meant to be fake and showy. And this entire concept of fake it till you make it is the worst thing in the world. You should not fake it at any point in your time. The moment you start faking things, oh my god, no matter how many convenience, I'm not saying you'll not gain material wealth. Maybe you'll have hordes of material wealth, but inside, you will kind of corrode. You will fade away from your own being. You'll feel like I'm losing contact of who I am, and I'm slowly forgetting the reality of who I was, because I've started to fake it everywhere. So I no more have a line that distincts between who I am and who I am supposed to be for society. The next thing is happiness always comes from inside, but pleasure is always derived from outside. I realized this at a very young age because I had developed a binge eating disorder when I was like 16 years of age. I used to cope with everything by eating like loads and loads of food, and then one day I suddenly understood this is not the way to deal with things. I was 90 kgs when I was 16 years of age, and suddenly a doctor, I remember at 4:30 in the morning, he made me he was doing my USG, so he made me lay flat on the USG table, and he said, "Beta, what do you do?" And I said, "I'm a student." And he said, "You kind of have to live first. You keep your studying aside for a moment. You live first and breathe first and become okay, and then all of this." Because my menstrual cycle had kind of stopped. I was going through extreme like bouts of anxiety and this and that, everything. So that kind of came as that still kind of rings a bell in my ear, that you live first. You live first, then everything. You be first, then everything. You are, then everything. Okay? So pleasure is you depending upon external things and kind of depending upon psychedelics, cigarettes, alcohol, sexual orgasms, or maybe overworking. Some of the most unpopular and underrated things that people use and people don't understand is overworking, shopping, extra shopping, overworking, cooking, painting. All of this can also turn into an addiction. So you have to figure out if you're doing things out of sheer joy or if you're doing things to mask your sorrow. Are you doing this because you have become dependent on it, or are you doing it because it's an outpouring of pure joy and beauty and bliss, which is always the source of it is always inside, And I'm saying this from my experience. I'm not saying this because I've read this in theory. Okay. The next thing. Success does not necessarily mean that you're very happy. I realized this very late, and I did not want to accept this. I felt like material success is everything in life. It will solve all your problems. Because if you have the money to do something, how the hell are you not happy? You can just go and do it. But then I thought, very later on in life, like maybe a few months ago, I realized that so many people have so much money, and yet we have produced so many miserable successful people. So many people have taken their own lives at such a young age in spite of being successful. But why is it that they have done this? If they were earning so well and if they were comfortable with their own lives, that means material wealth is nothing. It may be of a certain amount of comfort and convenience, but more than that, it is trash. It's not a factor that contributes to your well-being. It's a factor that contributes to your comfort, and there's a great amount of difference between your well-being and your comfort. Comfort is like, oh, am I comfortable? Yes, I am, because I'm sitting on a bed, on a pillow, and I'm well dressed, and I have eaten a meal a day, and I am happy, and I'm okay. That is kind of comfort. But if I am angry, or if I'm sad, or if I am miserable, or if I'm blissful, or if I'm ecstatic, kind of depends on how I am within, not from outside. 2 saris can make you happy for 2 moments. After those 2 moments are gone, what are you going to do? You're going to kind of go mad chasing after new experiences. and you're going to stay in the same cycles, and every time you try to do it, you'll need a bigger dosage. This is where people who are dealing in psychedelics will know better. This much doesn't work anymore. It has to be this much, then this much, then this much, and then it starts becoming an addiction, and then it starts disturbing and breaking your whole system. Same with food, same with alcohol. This video, I realize, is getting extremely long, so we're going to make it a little short. Okay, I'm going to summarize it. The next one is, human beings are ever evolving. They don't have a baseline. I mean, they don't have a top line. They have a baseline, that you're born with a body, you're born with a mind. If you want, you can go beyond the mind. If you want, you can be stuck within the mind. If you want, you can go below the mind. Alcohol is a way to go below the mind. Cigarette is a way to go below the mind, where your intelligence completely stops functioning for a moment and you go below the mind. There's nothing. But meditation, for example, is a way to go above the mind, beyond the sphere of logic, into the sphere of what we call as non-duality, where good and bad, ugly and beautiful, this and that does not exist. The only thing that exists is this, now, here, I, nothing else. The other is always kind of hell. The next, it is in the lap of grace that all happens, often called as luck. So this is a very misunderstood and misconstrued thing, that, oh, it's luck, it's luck, it's luck. It's not luck, it's grace. Certain people exude grace, so more grace comes to them. Certain people exude more blockages, and they attract more blockages. Take it as this. So it's never luck. It's how you are that determines how your day will be. It's never luck that determines how your day will be or how a situation turns out to be. It's always how you are that determines how you handle the situation, that determines whether the situation is in your favor or not. Okay? And if it always turns out that everything is going wrong in your life, listen to me, you're not in the lap of grace. If always it turns out the things, you are attracting more love, joy, silence, bliss, awareness. That means you are in the lap of grace, and you need to keep going beyond that. Okay, the next thing. This is going to be a 40-minute video, but I am extremely proud of it. Okay, the next thing. Love, true love, always will free you. It will never bind you down with any barrier. This is very true. Love, as we all know, is utterly wrong. Okay, marriage is not love, orgasm is not love, sexual intercourse is not love, mind talk is not love, understanding is not love. Love can never be contained within the limitations of your tiny mind. It is so big, it is so huge, it is such a vast phenomena. It can never be contained. See, if it could be logical, if it would be rational, you wouldn't have loved dogs. You can't even, damn it, you can't even talk to them. They don't have an open mind. They bark at you, they scoff at you, sometimes they bite, but they're loyal, they're cute. But most of all, they're unconditionally loving you. So that's why you love them, isn't it? So there's they don't want anything from you other than your love and attention. That's all. You can betray them, you can bring 2 other dogs, but he will not be like, oh, you brought 2 other dogs, so what about me? But human beings do that, no? So love is a very big phenomena, and love will never bind you down. If something is binding you down, that is not love, that is attachment. If something is kind of pushing you down and threading you to a pole and saying, oh, I am possessive of you because I worry about you, that is not love. That is insecurity, that is driven by anxiety, that is driven by fear. I'm not saying that's toxicity, because toxicity at its root is basically anxiety and fear. So everything that kind of binds you down is on the basis of fear, and you should be intelligent enough to go beyond it and do the thing that you're supposed to do, which is to break the chain and go beyond. The next thing, spontaneity is always true, intense, and playful. Planning something is always artsy, kind of fake, showy, and unfulfilled expectations. Planning will always lead to disappointments. This is my experience in life. Unless and until you're somebody who's gone beyond, and then you're planning, then that takes a different turn and everything. But when you have not awakened, planning will always lead to disastrous things. So it's better to just be spontaneous and playful rather than to be the perfectionist who always strives after this is the ideal and we have to meet standards, otherwise we are worthless. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, this video is getting too long, so I'm going to end this. I'm done. I don't know how many I spoke about, maybe 20, 21 or 19. I hope you found some inspiration and some profound wisdom from this video. I hope you have a lovely day. I hope you have a day full of silence, awareness, peace, meditativeness, and joy. I love you, and goodbye. And thank you for tuning in.